Welcome to Book Club The Yappening, a podcast where we discuss every and all things we've read and some of us haven't read, in a safe place where we can yap about life in general. In the description, you'll find links to our Fable, Instagram, and Discord accounts. Please follow for more yapping in different styles. For a warning, we will 100% be spoiling this book, so please pause, go read, and come back to yap. Read the trigger warnings before continuing on. Welcome to the finale.
Not of the Yappening.
No, I'm
Not of
kidding.
the Yappening. We finally give up, guys.
Yeah,
We're done.
You know, it's fine. Yeah, we are doing the third book of the Gemma Doyle trilogy. Before we jump into it, I do want to thank everybody for being patient with our audio. We do understand that it varies wildly episode to episode. I promise we know. I promise we are troubleshooting. Also, shout out to Uncle Phil. Can't wait to meet you one day.
Constructive criticism, welcome in the comments.
Yeah, you know.
Yes.
Helpful tips.
Whatever. I
Very
mean,
helpful
we're learning as we
tips.
go, and there's no way for us to learn without doing the thing. And, like, why would we record a bunch of shit and just never post it? That would be crazy.
And we don't control the algorithm at all.
I wasn't even going to go there, but, you know.
You can cut that out.
You know, it's just, like, out of everything going on in the world right now, it's kind of crazy to just be upset about that type of thing when you can just have free will and scroll. But that's okay.
Other side note, please read the trigger warnings.
Yes.
And the
Thank you, because I was totally about to...
read the trigger warnings before continuing on.
Yeah, okay. So, this is Sweet for a Thing by Libba Bray. Recap. Last we left off, our ladies, we discovered that Miss Moore was Circe, which we probably already knew. Gemma was able to place a seal on the magic in the temple, binding the magic to herself and all those who would share in the power. After placing a seal, Pippa was looking spooky ooky and she took her ass to the Winterlands. Let's see. And Gemma started a crew to help restore order to the realms. This would consist of Kartik, Felicity, Anne, Asha, Amphilian, and the Gorgon. And when I just say those people, I mean, like, obviously Asha being the leader of the Hajin, Amphilian being the leader of the Forest Folk, etc., etc. And then we bid farewell to Pippa again. Okay, cool. So, picture it. London, 1893. So this is like 3 years prior to everything that we've had happening, like from the beginning of the series.
Flashback.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So we open with two men fishing bodies out of the Thames River. They're searching said bodies for valuables before tossing the bodies back into the river. They pull a lady out who is wearing a fine silk lavender dress, and they kind of like have a little bit of banter of like, oh, she's dressed real nice. What the fuck happened? And they're like, she ain't got nothing on her, flip. So she only had a couple coins in her pocket. She had a crescent eye amulet around her neck, which is why we care. And then she had a note clutched in her hand. The note said, "The Tree of All Souls lives." Also, I definitely left this out because it wouldn't have made a ton of sense, but like each book, at some point, Gemma has had a vision of a tree, so we're coming full circle here with that. But again, if I tell you she saw a tree, you would just be like, why? Okay, fast forward, we are now March 1896. We are rejoining our lovely ladies at Spence. They have begun reconstructing the East Wing. Mrs. Nightwing, we're in class. She's teaching everybody how to curtsy, like the seniors, because they're going to be debuting once spring hits, essentially. So like in May they're going to be debuting, which is Bridgerton style. You have to go curtsy in front of the queen. So Mrs. Nightwig is teaching everybody to curtsy, and she's like, okay, everybody get the fuck out, because the construction going on is like super loud. So she's like, why don't you guys just go sit outside and draw or something? So everybody heads out. They are really trying to keep the girls away from the construction workers as much as humanly possible. So like when she says like go outside and draw, she means like go up a hill and then draw from like far away.
You gotta keep the girls away from the construction workers because they're just gonna wolf whistle and try to hit on them, and then someone's gonna say, hey, we're underage, and that's only gonna encourage them.
Yeah, right. And like literally,
hey, let me see them ankles.
There is some ankle action. There is some
ink. Oh, got flashing them inks.
Yeah, no meaning to spoil, but there will be ankles.
Hey, you like the way that I'm placing these stone
yes
pieces on top of one another?
Yeah. So Bridget is essentially chaperoning the girls on their like drawing expedition. But the girls like hoof it up the hill, and Bridget is like, you know, she's an older lady. Like she's been working hard life, so her like back and shit hurts. So they like take off and run up the hill so that they have a couple minutes to ogle the men through opera glasses. But they like take off so they can get up there before her, so she doesn't make them stop.
You draw me like one of your French girls.
Yeah, legitimately, yes. Okay.
Oh, this is beautiful. I love this. How much do I owe you?
Right. Once Bridget gets up the hill, she's like grumbling at them for like ditching her essentially, but then she also starts bitching about the reconstruction. Like there's multiple people who are like, you shouldn't be doing this. Just generally speaking, the vibe is that the East Wing was cursed and it burned down and it should stay burned down. So a lot of people are like not happy that it is being reconstructed, Bridget being one of them. She calls the East Wing a cursed place that should be left alone. She says she remembers the East Wing and there was something just not right about it, but specifically the East Wing had a turret, so like a big tower, and she says the turret especially was like heinous. So while the
stairs.
Right. While the girls are sketching, it begins to rain, so they jump up and they run inside, but as Gemma is running back down the hill, Felicity grabs her and pulls her behind a tree. Felicity tells her that Anne will be returning this evening and that they need to try and enter the realms again. Over the past few months, Gemma hasn't been able to conjure the Door of Light, actually for real this time, because we know she lied about it last time, but she genuinely can't open the door. She believes that the realms are punishing her for like murdering Miss Moore, essentially. Felicity is desperate to re-enter the realms and to try to find out what happened to Pippa.
Just think she left her phone back there.
Yeah. And then I apparently cut out the part of why Anne was gone, but Anne, she's going to be a governess to her cousins, so they basically had her come and like kind of do a practice run with the kids. So Anne is basically returning from that. Yes.
Not entirely sure what a governess is.
Like a nanny type of thing.
That's kind of what I
like a nanny, but I think that they probably also do like some like teaching, like homeschooling a little bit. Yeah. But that's why Anne is at Spence, is so that she can essentially learn her manners and then become a governess, you know? So like they're training her as the fine ladies would be trained, so she can essentially raise fine ladies that aren't her own type of thing. And that's also probably why her cousins were okay with like paying for her to get an education. Like she is a scholarship student, but I don't think that it's like 100% free, obviously, because she needs like room and board and food and stuff.
Is she a governess because she's too doughy to be a nanny?
I know you're making a joke, but genuine answer, I think that it's probably more valuable for higher status people to have a governess, because then your children, girls, are getting a head start on their like charm school type of thing before they go off to boarding school, right? So like it's basically like preschool, so to speak. So like a nanny that also does the preschool side of things, so that when the kids do end up going off to boarding school, they essentially have a head start on things and they can be like the fancy pants in the boarding school. Okay. I'm making assumptions. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't care. Don't tell me.
I've already been trained.
Yeah, that's my truth, and that's how I'm living. Okay, so they get back inside. Anne is like dripping wet in the foyer. She spent the weekend with her cousins. Gemma and Felicity are going to be returning to London in May to make their debuts. Blah blah. I already did that. Okay. So once Felicity makes her debut, she will be able to claim her grandmother's inheritance for her. The inheritance will give her the ability to essentially live however she wants, because she won't be beholden to anybody. It's her own money that nobody else can touch. And all she has to legitimately do is just go and make a debut with a sponsor, and that's the only stipulation in the will, is that she has to debut as a fine lady in good standing, and then she essentially can inherit this like lump sum, and she can just do what she wants with it. So that's kind of her struggle this time around, is just kind of figuring that stuff out. So that night the ladies attempt to return to the realms. Gemma finally gets an image of the door in her mind for the first time, but then she immediately sees Circe trapped in the well, and so she loses the image. Everyone's disappointed, and when I say disappointed, obviously we know Felicity's probably being a bitch about it, but then they all go to bed. The next day, Gemma returns home to London to visit her father. While she's there, she's taken to a tea party with her grandmother. They're talking about the debut in May. She is basically like, okay, you go sit outside with the girls that are also about to like debut, and then like the grandmothers and shit will be inside. So while Gemma's outside with the other girls, they start gossiping, and word on the street is the woman, Lady Markle, who's supposed to sponsor Felicity to debut, has been telling people that she's not going to sponsor Felicity because her mom's a hoe, basically. Felicity don't act right, her mom's a hoe, stick it to her, essentially. Like, people know the inheritance and they know the stipulations of it, so it's basically like, I just don't feel like it because she's a brat and I don't want to do that. So that's like kind of where the gossip turns. So obviously Gemma like clocks this. She doesn't really like say anything to them, but she does obviously she will in fact be telling Felicity this.
So then the gossip inevitably turns to so have you heard about this videotape that you play, and there's like a girl in a well,
yeah,
and that she kills you in 7 days?
Yes.
And then everyone else goes, what's a videotape?
Right. Yeah, we do love timey-wimey. Jeremy bury me. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so as the kind of gossip is happening, Gemma starts getting like really like warm, and like she feels like she can't breathe, and then all of a sudden the girl who's talking all this shit like has like a pain or something, but she like goes ow, and then she looks at the girl next to her and is like, how dare you pinch me? But then Gemma all of a sudden immediately feels better. So we do know that Gemma has the magic and she can do things with it. This is going to kind of continue to be a thing. If Gemma is in like a high emotional state, stuff will just randomly happen to whoever she's like upset with, kind of. Or yeah, just it doesn't necessarily need to be like a violent something happening, but like there'll be times where she wants someone to think something, and just her being distressed about them not thinking how she wants them to will like change the trajectory of things. And that's just gonna kind of keep coming up. Okay, so that evening Gemma is sitting and thinking of the realms. She desperately wants to return to the realms, obviously. She falls asleep, she has a dream. In her dream, she's surrounded by mist, and she's standing in front of an enormous twisted ash tree. She then hears a voice calling to her. The voice is saying, "Come to me." The voice goes on to tell her that she is the only one who can save them and the realms, telling Gemma that she must return. So basically, like, you need to get in here because we need ya.
Who's them? Mystery box.
Yes, exactly. Well, who indeed, right? So Gemma tells the voice that she can't get in. The voice tells her that there's another way. There's a secret door. And if we recall to the first book, when the East Wing burned down, Gemma's mom locked a door, like physically locked a door. So there is, in fact, a physical door somewhere in the East Wing, right? So we can kind of remember that. And I mention that because I'm sure we don't actually remember that. But that was a thing. So essentially is like there's a door, just like an actual door to walk through. So just go find it, essentially. Let's see. Gemma argues that the magic has left her because she doesn't actually understand that she still has magic. And then, let's see.
All women are magic.
Right. Literally. Thank you. So the voice basically tells her, like, you do have magic. You actually have a ton of power. And it's only building within you. And they fear her power, so she must unleash it, essentially. It's also, like, kind of another thing where she hasn't necessarily been feeling super great. She's been feeling, like, super feverish, because it's kind of like shaking up a bottle of pop. Like, over time, the magic just will boil over at some point, like, regardless of her emotional state. Like, she needs to be using the magic to kind of, like, off charge. Kind of like, I don't know. I feel like I had something and then I lost it. But anyways, she just kind of, like, needs to discharge some magic every once in a while.
Yeah, I feel like there's something in our shared knowledge of IPs that would
but I can't necessarily put my finger on it right now, but it's a thing. Anyways, there's so many other references I'm going to be making over the course of this. Okay, so they fear her power. She must open the door. So we're now shifting scenes. In her dream, she is now in the Cave of Sighs in her dream, standing in front of the well. Below the well's icy surface, she sees Circe. She's trapped. She's floating beneath the ice. So the well is essentially iced over. So that's like a literal seal in that the well has been frozen. And then Gemma says, oh, Circe's floating. Her eyes pop open. Gemma says, "You're dead. I killed you." Obviously, that's not true, or the dream wants her to think it's not true. Gemma wakes up. Again, she's feverish, damp hair. She's like, it's like cake to her face. She tries to tell herself that it's just a dream. And she then begins to just kind of shiver uncontrollably, like she's got the chills. But, like, also, for whatever fucking reason, Gemma is just like, oh, dreams are just dreams. It's not real. And it's like, we have a lot of proof that's maybe not the case, right? So just her denial is really spot on. We love it. Okay. So, when Gemma returns to Spence, she's speaking with Felicity. She asks her about her pending debut. So instead of just outright telling Felicity what she heard, she's just kind of, like, asking Felicity, like, oh, how's that going? Like, have you heard anything? So let's see. Basically Felicity, like, clocks that, like, Gemma obviously heard something, so she's like, what have you heard? So Gemma fills her in. Felicity basically says that if she doesn't have access to her inheritance, she's going to be at her father's mercy, so he can dictate, like, who she's going to marry or what she's going to do with her life, type of thing. And obviously we know her father's not a good dude, even a little bit, so that's probably not optimal. Let's see. So, all right. Basically, Gemma fills her in. Felicity, basically, you have so much at stake. Maybe you should behave for a little bit. At least until, like, at least until you get through the season. But Felicity doesn't really take that well. She knows well-behaved women rarely make history. So she asks Gemma why she should tremble over petty gossip anyways, telling Gemma that she's survived far worse than, like, catty bitches, basically, and she sure has. And then, let's see, Felicity tells Gemma that she doesn't need warning, she needs a friend. So basically, like, don't tell me what to do, just be here for me, type of thing, like, support me, believe in me, type of thing. We are now fast forwarding. Mrs. Nightwing announces that in order to celebrate the girls graduating this year and that the East Wing is being reconstructed, Spence is going to be holding a masquerade, paper faces on parade, etc. Mrs. Nightwing also shares the wonderful news that Miss McCleathy is going to be returning to Spence. Mrs. Nightwing then shares a letter from Miss McCleathy. In the letter, McCleathy says she didn't intend to stay at Spence, but it would seem that she's needed there, adding, she always goes where duty calls, finishing with a remark that the graduating girls should remember their obligations as well as their dreams, which obviously isn't appointed at anyone in specific, I can't imagine. Outside, there's a scuffle happening between the workers and the Romani, and the construction workers are basically trash. Like, they're horrific people, and they will continue to be horrific people until it gets not cool.
Hey, I got a place for you to roam on me.
Anyways, so the Romani basically roll up and they were like, hey, since we're here anyways, like, do you guys need extra help? Like, they're basically like, do you need extra workers? Like, can we, like, come and work for you? And Mr. Miller, the foreman, is just super fucking racist. So that's just going to continue to be a thing of him just being an asshole and racist. Like, kind of like, scram, get out of here.
I've got 17 different ways to hit on you that involve slurs that I can't say anymore.
Right. So Mrs. Nightwing basically comes outside because, like, there's a...
Sorry, is it Nightwing or Nightwig?
It's Nightwig, and I'm gonna say Nightwing like 72 times. Okay. I'm so sorry.
I just want to make sure.
I'm so sorry. Sure. And, like, I'm gonna...
I like Nightwing better.
I like Nightwig better, but only because that's how I read it when I initially read the books. Because she perhaps has a little dyslexia sometimes. Yeah, that, and then Fion, like, misgendering Fion, like, it's rough out here, man, especially because sometimes I'm like half asleep while I'm writing this. Nightwing, she goes outside and she's like, the Romani are like good people, they've always been here, like, don't be mean to them, basically, but also if they don't want you working for them, they don't want you working for them. Like, can we just be civil, basically, because there's just a bunch of men outside the school, like, screaming. Yeah. Right, exactly. We don't love that. Angry men are pretty spooky. So let's...
12 of them, entertaining and
right,
Oscar winning, I think.
Yes. So the Romani basically leave. Let's see. But then the workers, like, find something. So then there's, like, a kerfuffle over, like, they've uncovered something. And then there is, let's see, there's a stone faded with faded markings on it. And Mrs. Nightwing says that it may be a relic from when the Druids lived there. Miller agrees, saying that it was very clearly used as a marker of some kind. Like, it's super old, it's buried super deep, but obviously this was meant to mark something at some point. Gemma leans over the hole to take a look. She finds the markings to be oddly familiar. She then grows very, very warm. She's then drawn to the stone, like physically drawn to the stone, to the point where she almost falls in the hole. And it would appear that we are having a, like, calling to like moment, as Nick loves. Absolutely favorite trope. Okay, so later, Gemma asks Bridget why she seems to be so sketched out about the East Wing, like, hey, give me them lore. Bridget drops lore to Gemma. She says that she had once overheard Mrs. Nightwing asking Mrs. Spence something about the East Wing. She made out that Mrs. Spence assured Nightwing that she wouldn't let anything in, even if she had to die first. So Bridget's like, clearly something's going on. I don't know what it is, but, like, I don't love what I heard. And that was, like, right before the fire too. So, like, very shortly after, Mrs. Spence did in fact die about it.
Over my dead body.
Okay. So anyways, Gemma heads back to her room after, getting that lore dump. She rereads the end of her mother's diary. She goes to sleep and dreams about the stone. Let's see. We then cut to Gemma, Felicity, and Anne half asleep standing by the stone. So basically Gemma has a dream and then she goes and she's like, bitches, get up, we gotta go. So Felicity and Anne are, like, just annoyed that they were dragged outside. They, like, because it wasn't Felicity's idea, she's not down with it, I guess. So Gemma concentrates and reaches towards the stone. She is then able to open a door of light at the stone. Rather than stepping into the garden, though, they step into, like, an underground tunnel. So basically, instead of just having, like, an immediate door that they're stepping outside of, they now have, like, a entranceway that they have to travel through, basically. So there's, like, a long cave system that they walk through, and then again, still doesn't open at the garden where the girls are used to, but let's see. As they, like, get out of the tunnel, they are in a beautiful place still. It's not the garden, but Gemma notices a bunch of large stones, basically, like, Stonehenge flavored. And then through the henge is, like, a dirt path. The stones also have, like, carvings on them that are just a bunch of different women. And we'll come to find out that there's this whole thing about when a member of the order passes on, but generally speaking, the carvings are of women who were part of the order.
What flavor is Stonehenge? Is it Rocky Road?
Yes, of course it is. It tastes like the mineral. Okay.
Jesus, Marie, the minerals.
Yes, they crave the mineral. Okay, so dirt path, warriors, priestesses, queens, etc., etc. Continuing to follow through the path, the girls eventually make their way back into the garden. Felicity then immediately starts calling out to Pippa. We kind of already know that she's not there, right? Because like last we saw, she was taking her ass to the Winterland, so why Felicity thinks that she would just pop back up in the garden. Like, Felicity is really, really good at just like pretending like just that didn't happen, more or less. So let's see, she begins looking for Pippa.
Someone find a goat. Let's see if we can draw her in.
Right. So they're in the garden. Can't find Pippa. Gemma then like conjures rubies in her hand, just to kind of see if she still has the magic, especially when she's inside the realms. So excitedly, the girls are like, "Hell yeah, magic! Love this." Anne tries to conjure something and she can't, and then Felicity tries to conjure something and she can't. So quite literally, all of the magic of the realms is inside of Gemma, even just the like freeform magic that they were using previously. So like nobody can do anything even remotely magical except her. Yeah, so she's quite literally the temple. Gemma tries to give Felicity power by grabbing her hand, and while touching Felicity, Gemma is able to feel and see what Felicity is thinking and feeling. And then let's see, she's noticing that Felicity's strongest wish is for Pippa, and Gemma says that it feels like a deep wound, like a deep emotional wound coming off of Felicity while they're connected like that. And then shortly after, Gemma gives both Anne and Felicity power, so she is able to like bequeath power onto people. Basically how like you touch the runes and you get the power. If Gemma gives you the power, you get to have power too. So shortly after,
you're not getting another one.
Right, exactly. Like, take good care. So the Gorgon rolls up. We love our boat queen. She tells Gemma that they had expected her to come sooner. Telling Gemma that the realms have been quiet, but like suspiciously quiet. And then let's see. The Gorgon also notes that she hasn't seen any signs of any Winterling creatures at all, which is unusual to go this long without even just seeing one. Just out here and about, but basically it's quiet, but like too quiet. Gemma notices the Gorgon seems worried, but Gemma's like, but isn't that kind of good news if they're being quiet and they're not doing anything? But like also if they're quiet and not doing anything, like are they planning something basically? But I guess Gemma doesn't occur to her. And then let's see, the Gorgon goes on to tell Gemma that Fionn has been asking about Gemma. She then asks if Gemma would like to go meet with the forest folk now that she's back. Gemma declines. The Gorgon outright says, like, girl, are you actually going to share the magic? Like, is this you telling me that you're not going to do everything that you had promised to do?
Maybe.
Right. Gemma just kind of brushes her off, saying like, well, I just got back. Like, let me explore and decide exactly how I want to move forward. Like, she keeps implying like, I am going to share the magic. I just need to think about it first. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, but like also she's a teenage girl, so it doesn't have to. Gorgon tells Gemma that there are concerns, that no one person has ever held the power, and because of this, basically the realms are fully out of balance because, like, not only is all of the magic within Gemma, but she's not even, like, in the realms for the most part, so, like, shit is, like, haywire, but also no one person has ever had this much power, so this can very truly be bad for you. Like, something bad could happen to you. Like, we don't know, right? So, and that's the concern, but also the magic is like a living thing, so it changes the people that it touches, but the people also change the magic. So it's like, we don't know if this is even safe for you to have. We don't know that the magic isn't going to do something to inherently change you as a person, and we don't know that you aren't going to somehow accidentally fuck up the magic, right? Like, because you could theoretically break the magic more or less, or like make it chaotic, like, so like there's other concerns beside you not wanting to share your toys, basically. Gemma is basically argumentative, because of course she is, that the realms are finally safe, that the magic can't be accessed, like basically like, well, if I only have the magic and I'm not going to do anything bad, then doesn't that mean that the realms are safe? So like this is like a net positive, right? But Gorgon's like, no, not so much. So let's see. Gemma says that she's not going to hang on to the magic for very long. Gorgon asks if that is a promise that Gemma's making, and Gemma says, yes, it's a promise. I won't permanently hold on to the magic, I promise. Gorgon then goes on to warn Gemma, that there's much unknown about the Winterlands, and that her wisest course of action is going to be form alliances. So like the Gorgons, like, we don't know what they're doing over there. We don't know that they're like, it's really unlikely that they're just like chilling and living their lives peacefully. Like they're probably up to something, and like something bad is coming, like a storm is coming, and you should probably make alliances while you can before things get too tense. Spoilers, Gemma's not gonna listen to that.
I gotta talk to people, I don't know, my anxiety.
Right. I do feel that. Let's see. So Gemma also is thinking that it's really strange that the Gorgon, who is more or less always laid back and really sure of herself, Gemma's like clocking that the Gorgon seems to be anxious, like seems to be fearful, and so Gemma's like, that's weird. But then she proceeds not to listen to anything that the Gorgon has to say. And then let's see, Gemma simply tells the Gorgon to let Theon know that she'll come and meet with them and discuss the magic the next time Gemma comes to the realms, but that doesn't happen either, so I hate to break that to you. So Gemma returns to the girls. They play with the magic. They have a good time. The girls go around and discuss what they would wish for to use the magic for. Felicity says that she would wish to bring Pippa back. Anne asks Gemma if she thinks that Pippa has been lost to the Winterlands. Gemma says she doesn't know, though we know that she does think so. She's just kind of trying to be nice. Like, she's so certain that that's what's happened. She just is like, I don't know.
Is this before or after the monkey's paw? Because you got to be really specific with that wish. I want to bring Pippa back.
Yeah, I see where you're going, but there absolutely is going to kind of be a bit of a monkey's paw moment later on down the road where Gemma like is trying to do something, and then she's like, ooh, I maybe didn't mean that. So let's see. Felicity is fully in denial. She says that, of course, Pippa's not lost. Gemma very gently tries to say, like, well, the last time we saw Pippa, she was looking kind of fucky, and then she took off to the Winterlands. Like, we saw her actively take off to the Winterlands, so you gotta kind of think that maybe that might be the case. Let's see. Felicity doubles down, basically saying that she knows Pippa, and Pippa would never leave her. So
Pippa eat a goat head?
But... Yes, but Pippa would never leave Felicity. Would. Like, that's sort of like the thing. That's Felicity's argument, is that she might be fucky, but she loves me too much to, like, ever leave me. So with this, Felicity is basically determined to be like, I'm going to prove it to you that Pippa's still around. So she takes off, basically saying, like, I'm going to go find her and you guys can come or you can fuck off. So the girls obviously follow after her. At a point, they come across to a tree that is surrounded by a bunch of rotten fruit. Gemma then quickly uses the magic to bring the fruit back to life. So this is like an indication to us that things are not, in fact, all good in the realms, right? Because, like, why is the fruit rotten in, like, this perfect utopia type of moment? They then come across a wall of thorny vines. Gemma reaches out to touch the vines, but she ends up pricking her finger on one of the thorns, and drawing blood from herself. And then the vines end up parting once her blood has hit them, and then there's a big old ruined castle right behind this wall of vines. Felicity is like, hell yeah, let's go investigate this castle. Gemma's like, you remember the last time we went to go investigate a castle, didn't go so great. Poppy warriors. But basically the girls then start hearing like hoot hoot, hoot hoot, and they're just like, what is happening? And then they see things like running through the like forest around them, and they're just like, this maybe seems not super great. So the sound is moving closer. Gemma demands that whoever is there show themselves. And
I have a gun.
Right. And Pippa pops out from behind a tree. Her skin has taken on the color of a lifeless corpse. Her white dress is now incredibly tattered. The skirt is almost completely brown just from like dirt. She's surrounded by the purple glow of night. I forgot that that's even a thing because that legitimately never comes up again. But let's see. Her hair is super matted and she has a crown of flowers, but they're like completely dead, basically.
Kind of picturing Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, okay.
No, just kind of a not tattered or like kind of patched together dress looking like a corpse. My first thought was Corpse Bride, but that's a wedding dress.
I would say probably more like Corpse Bride flavored. Mm-hmm. Not like obviously wedding dress, but like.
Please don't put corpse and flavored in a sentence.
Oh well, fucking make me. But no. Back in this time period, it was kind of like a lingerie dress was like kind of thing where it's not how we would think of lingerie, but like it's lacy, it's light fabric, it's pure white type of thing. So that would have kind of been the style of what they are wearing a little bit more casually. At least that's how I pictured it in my head. Don't tell me if I'm wrong. I don't care. Let's see. Felicity.
What's up, guys? I got married.
Right. Felicity asks if it's really her. Pippa confirms. She then is like, aren't you guys going to come give me a hug? Felicity obviously immediately runs up and like grabs onto Pippa and hugs her and runs up after her very excited. Pippa then looks at Gemma because Gemma has not made a move towards Pippa. And she just kind of gives Pippa gives Gemma a sad smile, and she tells Gemma that she looks like she's seen a ghost. And it's like, oh, you dead? What do you mean? Like, of course she's seen a ghost. Like, also, you know, you were fucking off to the Winterlands. Like, this is obviously a shock, right?
Wow, I'm so happy to see all of you. Felicity, you look great. Gemma, you look like you're frightened to see me. And you've gotten even juicier. I mean plumper. I mean doughier.
Your dough's been proofing, girl. Okay, so let's see. Seen a ghost. Gemma then clocks that Pippa still has her sharp, jagged teeth, and while she looks more normal, aside from obviously looking like a corpse, her eyes are back to their normal colors, but every once in a while they switch to that milky white that we last saw Pippa with her eyes. So it's basically implied that like Pippa is like trying to use some level of illusion to like keep herself like looking more normal, and no, I won't be taking questions on that. Gemma cautiously tells Pippa that she thought that they had gone off to the Winterlands. Pippa confirms that she very nearly did. Felicity then is like, okay, well then what happened? And Pippa doesn't answer. She just goes, do you want to come meet my friends? So, and then this was mostly cut out in Rebel Angels. I know I did mention it to some extent, but while they were looking for the temple in Rebel Angels, they come across a bunch of factory girls, and like girls to like young ladies type of moment, basically aging from like an actual literal child to like maybe early 20s or so. But they were locked in a factory. It caught fire. They are basically very burned, like just scorched. They look as they would have having died in a fire. Anyways.
Crispy.
Yes. So Gemma and everybody meets them in Rebel Angels, and they are kind of like confused. They don't really, the last thing they remember is the fire, and now they're in a forest and they don't necessarily know why. And the like leader of the factory girls is named Bessie. And Gemma's like very gently trying to tell them like, you guys should maybe cross over, like you maybe shouldn't just be hanging out here. And Bessie's like, well, those two ghosts over there told us we can go to the Winterlands and it would be really fucking chill. And Gemma's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And Bessie's like, go fuck yourself.
I mean, they're kind of chill for just, you know, talking to ghosts and listening to them.
Right. So the last we saw the factory girls, Girls, they were following after the, like, ghost hose from Rebel Angels, like, off into the Winterlands. So we just are supposed to assume that that's what happened. And Pippa basically says that as she was on her way to the Winterland, she saw the factory girls following after the ghost hose, and she's like, I know that those girls are super sketch, and so let me go tell this group of girls, like, maybe you shouldn't be following them. Even though Pippa was also heading towards the Winterlands, like, you two had weird intentions.
One of those ghost hose gets lost and ends up in New York City, and just gets a hole in with Dan Aykroyd in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, absolutely. We love a multifaceted queen. Okay, so basically Pippa says, like, oh, I saved them. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I just recapped all that. Okay. So the factory girls step out of the woods. Bessie asks if these are the friends that took the magic and abandoned Pippa, because, like, Bessie's got an attitude problem. And then Pippa says, yeah, it is, but they're here, it's fine, like, they came back. And then Bessie's like, they don't look like they're gonna stay though, like.
They're already packing up to leave.
Right, and she's like, okay, cool, they came back, but, like, clearly they're still alive, so they're not gonna stay with you. Anyways, Felicity asks Pippa again where she's been. Pippa says she'll explain everything, but that they should head inside. She grabs Felicity and Anne, and they head off into the castle. Once inside, Gemma notices that the castle smells of damp and decay, noting that the walls are covered in moss and dead plants are hanging from the ceiling. She does say that they are poisonous purple flowers. I don't know how she knows that they're poisonous, or if she's just like, that purple looks a little spooky, it's probably poisonous. But there's flowers hanging overhead that Gemma doesn't like the vibe of.
Like actual flowers, or are they like a dream genus of flower that doesn't exist in the real world? Because she could just be like, oh, that's nightshade or something.
I guess that's true. But she legitimately only describes them as poisonous purple flowers. I would assume that if she knew what nightshade was, she would clock it as such, right? Yeah. So I don't know. Poisonous purple. Who knows?
It feels like the time period where you would need to know what is poisonous and what is not.
It also seems like the time period where people were using poison as medicine, right?
In small doses to fix things.
Yeah. Oh, and, like, I think this could be totally off base, but I think that, like, nightshade, or, like, a derivative of nightshade, was used to give people, like, really big doe eyes. Like, they would put drops. I think they would put drops of, like, nightshade or belladonna in their eyes to, like, dilate them so that they looked, like, doe-eyed and, like, innocent.
Wasn't also used, like, something poisonous was used to, like, cure headaches?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, arsenic and stuff was, like, used left, right, and center. And then obviously we know Coke, it's just people out here, like, snorting the snorts.
Sure.
Yeah, but yeah, so just whatever. Anyways,
it seems like the time where you would identify.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, it is a not good plant. You don't know what exactly it is, but don't eat
Belladonna.
Yeah.
Deadly nightshade is what they used to drop in people's eyes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I know a lot of facts, but I also have hella imposter syndrome, so, like, I'll just be saying some shit, and then I'm like, is that real?
That's why we say 2 truths and a lie. Do your own research.
Right, except I think that they're all lies, and I'm, typically accurate, because my special interest is, knowledge, I guess one could say. I'm hot for the facts. Okay, so Pippa shows them around the castle. She tells the girls that as she was on her way to the Winterlands, blah, 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 factory girls, and Pippa, let's see. Pippa calls out the ladies. Oh, we did that. Okay. Anyways, so Pippa's also, like, generally speaking, she's on a power trip, but she's, like, very much, like, acting like she's a headmistress, like she's trying to teach the girls, the, like, factory girls, to be, like, ladies type of thing, but it's very heavily implied she's only doing this and she's only hanging out with them because she has nothing better to do type of thing. So let's see. So the girls are catching up with Pippa, and Pippa begins crying. So the girls are like kind of filling her in on what they've been up to, like what they've been doing, like what they're learning, what time it is, because obviously time is different in the realms. And then Pippa just begins crying because she always wanted to have like a debut, right? And now she's seeing her friends preparing for that thing that she's always been excited to have, and she's not going to participate in it. So she begins crying, and she kind of starts talking about, like, I wonder how different my life would have been had I not made that decision type of thing. So how different her life would have been if she was married off. But that she's not sure that she made the right choice in staying in the realms. What
was the dude's name?
Mr. Bumble.
Mr. Bumble.
Yeah, so she's like...
No, you're better off where you're at, girl.
Yeah, so she's like... My life still would have been different from yours had I married that dude. Like, I certainly wouldn't have debuted, because the point of, like, debuting is to essentially husband shop, or I guess the husbands are shopping for you.
Yeah.
But she's like, I wouldn't have gotten to have that anyways, but I still don't think that I made the right choice here. And, I mean, objectively, she sure didn't make the right choice, but whatever. Choices are made.
Choices.
Yeah, so she excuses herself, she runs off. Felicity obviously goes after her. After a period of time, Felicity comes out and says, Gemma, she's asking for you. So Gemma goes to speak with Pippa. Felicity's obviously, like, with Gemma, and then Pippa's like, can we have a moment in private, please? Like, telling Felicity to buzz off because she doesn't want witnesses for this conversation, I guess. Let's see. Okay, so, speak in private. Pippa then asks Gemma if she can help her cross over. So she's basically like, I don't want to be here anymore. I know that you've been telling me to cross over. I know that the order's supposed to be able to help people cross over. Like, can you do that for me? And Gemma says, yeah, that's great. Let's go tell the others. And Pippa's like, absolutely not. I need you to keep this a secret until I'm gone. You can tell them afterwards, but I know Felicity's going to try to stop me. And if she tries to stop me, I probably will lose my will to do this. And I kind of want to get it done. So if they could not, that's fine. That would be better. Let's see. Pippa, basically is like, I'm really happy that you guys came and I got to see you one last time, and this is essentially going to be my goodbye. Will you come back tomorrow, like, by yourself, and then we'll get it done? Gemma says, okay, that's fine. Let's see, the following days, so basically they hang out, go home. The following day, the girls are having bike riding lessons. Okay, so the bike lesson is with Inspector Kent. I don't think that I told you about him, but first book, when they went to the spiritualist, the madam lady and my mom rose garden, etc type thing.
You can do real magic.
Yeah, so when they went to that, on their way out, and I don't remember the circumstances necessarily, but the French teacher bumps into a guy who we come to find out is Inspector Kent. They begin courting. The French teacher is now engaged to Inspector Kent, so he'll kind of, like, pop up and around, and generally speaking, like, he's a good dude. And so he has brought a bike to Spence, just as, like, a novelty thing. Like, he's coming to visit his lady. The girls would probably like to learn how to bike ride. I have a bike. So the girls are outside learning how to ride a bike.
Is it a penny farthing or like a bike with 2 normal size wheels?
I don't know. I would assume normal size wheels, right? Because wouldn't that be, like, the easiest bike to learn how to ride for the first time?
Probably, but if it's, like, a novelty, then I would think, like, 1 giant wheel and small wheel.
Well, it's a novelty, and that they're constantly in dresses, right? And it's really hard to ride a bike in dresses.
I would say 2 normal wheels.
Yeah, and I mean, they're there to learn how to be ladies, essentially, and spreading your legs to get over a bike's not super ladylike, right? So...
Can't hold a Tylenol between them at that point.
What?
Holding a Tylenol between your knees?
Tylenol?
How am I the only one that knows that? It was, I don't know when it was a thing, but, keep your legs close together to the point where You keep like a keep a Tylenol pill between them.
That is not a fact I knew, so thank you for sharing that. I'm so certain he's not saying Tylenol, but I can't figure out what he's saying.
I mean Tylenol.
I did too, but it didn't make
like
any
a Tylenol
sense.
Pill?
I think it's like a religious thing.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Just
like, keep your legs together, even like not in like a sexual way, but like just for sitting, but also metaphorically in a sexual way.
Right.
Huh.
Yes, correct. No Tylenol on the bike.
Yeah, just when you say novelty, I don't think of like, oh, because you're wearing dresses. I think of like, no, because this thing is brand fucking new.
I mean, and sure, probably too. And I know
a bike
that
with two normal size wheels and not one giant size wheel. Madness.
I do think that like the women who would have been riding bikes would have been like lower class, and I don't necessarily mean like the lowest of classes, but like not the debutantes. I feel like that probably would have been more like working.
If there's not a horse involved, then they don't want it.
Sure.
Like either riding a horse or a carriage drawn by a horse.
No, I get it. Yeah, but I do think it would be more so like women who are like secretaries and have like careers, so like not like factory workers per se, but like middle America type of moment, or middle class,
ones who are actually used to like doing some kind of physical work.
Yeah. Let's see, like they have places to be type of thing. So let's see, did that okay, so Gemma's turn on the bike. She flies off towards the street and crashes the bike, and then she crashes because she's trying to avoid a guy that's standing in the street. She crashes. It turns out to be Kartik. She hasn't seen him in forever, and she was worried that the Rakshana got him. So basically, she hasn't seen him since she's like, hey, I want you to join my cause. So she was like, where you been, Loka?
Oh my god.
I just imagine he's in the middle of the road, and then it just turns to his camera and goes, yeah, my girlfriend just got pranked.
Yeah.
She's probably breeding. I'm cutting that. God damn it. She's probably bleeding right now.
And that's going to be in the Let's Cut That compilation. His ears are turning red. Okay.
It wasn't just a slip up. I said breeding instead of bleeding.
What's on your damn mind?
We know. Okay. So he's still thinking about the furries. Okay, so he tells, and that would be funny if that episode came out after this one, but it doesn't. Anyway, so he tells Gemma that he intentionally was staying away. He's only actually returned to say goodbye to her. He also, like, owes the Romani money to some extent. I guess that probably when he joined them, they put in like food and effort into keeping him alive, and so he essentially has a debt he needs to repay to them. But he also came back so that he could say goodbye to Gemma one last time, because he's always coming back to say goodbye to Gemma for one last time. But surprise
He's on for a whole journey.
Yeah, I told my girlfriend that I'm leaving. I'm never gonna see her again. I'm gonna see her next week when I pop out of her closet.
Didn't think you were gonna say closet.
What do you think he was gonna pop out of?
We're talking about breeding, so
no, we're not.
You are.
No, we're not, because that's getting cut.
Allegedly. She is obviously really hurt and angry that he's gonna say goodbye, because last she saw, she's like, hey, come join my band of merry men, and he's like, absolutely, let's go. So basically she's pissed. And she decides that she is going to storm off and brood alone. And she ends up having a vision about the lady of the river. So as she storms off to be by herself, she then has the vision from the lady. Gemma believes that the lady, I don't necessarily remember, I guess I didn't super pay attention to the first sort of visions regarding this lady. And sorry, like I just got like rapid fire fucking texts. Okay. She, for whatever reason, is assuming that this lady is an illusionist or an illusionist assistant. So something from the visions that she caught is related to illusionists. So, let's see. Gemma comes out from her vision.
Good for her.
Okay, so she's in the woods brooding by herself. She has a vision. She comes out of the vision. Mother Elena is in the woods calling out for Carolina. As she's searching, Mother Elena then sees the construction workers working on the East Wing, and she gets super fucking agitated about this, obviously. And so she runs up to them and she begins yelling at them that they don't know what they're doing. Like, you don't understand what you're doing. Like, don't.
The East Wing curse.
Yeah, so, fast forward from that, Gemma and Pippa board a boat. Sorry. Gemma, I was like, what is happening? Okay, so Gemma returns to the realms. She's with Pippa. They get on a boat. They're sailing on the boat. The boat stops. Gemma is like, okay, you got to do the rest of this journey alone. But so Pippa gets off. She's in the water. She's swimming. But then all of a sudden, she's like thrashing around and screaming for help. And Gemma fishes her out of the river. And Pippa tells Gemma that the river wouldn't let her go any further. Like, it actively was not letting her swim across, so like she basically hit the end of the video game. And then Gorgon pops up, because the Gorgons they're just always by a body of water, and for a woman who's a boat she's just always everywhere. But she basically pops up and says, like, you waited too long, ho. So you're not able to cross over. The magic of the realms has claimed Pippa for their own, basically. This is also going to continue to be a thing that is never really addressed until all of a sudden, like, people just start talking about it like it was always factual, but it's heavily implied that not only did Pippa eat the berries, she has continued to eat the berries because she's like, well, I'm already here. Like, what more harm could it do? It's implied that the more berries you eat, the less able you are to cross over. So that is going to come into play later on down the road. But essentially, that's kind of the implication, is not only did you wait too long, but you've been snacking too much.
I got tired of goat heads.
Right.
I'm never gonna let that go.
I know, and nor should you. So Pippa's mad. She is demanding to know if she's meant to be alone in the realms forever. The Gorgon more or less says, like, girl, you fucked around and you found out, so he's like, yeah, you're here, make the most of it.
There's consequences for my inactions?
Right. So Pippa's fully inconsolable. She then begins taking her anger out on Gemma, as if Gemma fucking force-fed her the berries. She's sobbing that Gemma told her that she would cross over, and now she can't cross over. Like, you've been telling me to cross over this whole time, and now I can't? It's like, yeah, there was a time limit, ho. Like, she's been telling you to cross over for a minute. Like, you should have done it.
This was a timed quest.
Right, correct. So, let's see. Pippa falls into the grass sobbing because she's she is a child, but she also acts like a child. Gemma is trying to comfort Pippa, telling her that she's not alone. Like, you have Bessie and the factory girls. Like, you aren't all alone. And also, we come to visit you. So, like, you're not alone. Like, relax.
Go find my mom. Just don't listen to a thing she says.
Right.
Ignore her mystery boxes.
Yes. So Pippa at this point calls them hideous, horrid girls, telling Gemma that they were just a means for her to pass time.
You looked in a river?
Right. And they aren't actually friends with her in the way that Gemma and co are. So she basically sees the factory girls as lesser than, because, like, not only are they, like, significantly below Pippa's, like, station, they're also burnt to shit, right? And they don't have manners in the way that Pippa appreciates manners. So basically, like, they look ugly and they're rude. So I don't want to be friends with them.
But you're fucking rude. You need a goat head.
Girl, yes, absolutely. So let's
I'll be friends with the factory girls.
Yes. And some of them are so adorable and charming. It's like, it's not their fault they got crispy.
They smell like barbecue.
There you go. Nick loves barbecue. So let's see. They aren't friends. Pippa then begins begging Gemma to take her back. Like, take me with you. And so Gemma...
I've changed. Take me back.
Right. Gemma is, like, holding Pippa. She's soothing her. Pippa then pushes her away and tells Gemma it's all her fault. And then, let's see, again.
Kind of moody for a dead girl.
Right. She's, like, she's like clearly like suffers from the I'm pretty, so I never had to develop a personality and be nice to people because everybody just let me do what I want.
She's also like, on a serious note, she's like, breaking down the thing that she thought she could do to like kind of finally get away. She can't do anymore. She does want to blame herself. She's blaming Gemma, but also Gemma's the only one that's there for her right now.
She's going through some shit quick. She's eating go heads.
Right. And yeah, it feels like she's maybe never necessarily been told she couldn't have something, so when she was told she had to do something, she's like, no, I can just do it later. But now she's finding out that in fact she cannot do it later. But also, like, girl, you were already starting to change and look weird. Like, hun, you've been corrupted. Like, you been knew that. Like, just, I don't know why you're in denial. But regardless, Gemma does start to feel guilty because she is internalizing that she, like, I know I told her to cross over, but I could have tried harder to make her do that, right? Like, so that's kind of where she's coming at it from. Like, yeah, I told her, but I didn't, like, force her to do it, so it is my fault that she's here.
I had a lot going on. There's Tom and Absinthe. We did Felicity's whole, like, home situation, her adopted sister.
Yeah. Let's see.
Anagrams galore.
Right. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. Anyways, so Gemma, so she's like having like a fucking tantrum, and then Gemma is like, well, if I give you some magic, will you feel better about it? Like, basically trying to give the toddler a sucker to make her feel better about being a goober.
Not even a sucker, giving her a stun gun.
I mean, obviously, yes, but it's like the same way, like, you have a crying child, give them candy type of thing.
Probably shouldn't give her magic, but Gemma's never,
you know what?
doesn't make really great decisions.
She's
so
a teenager.
Right.
There's a level of, like,
yeah.
Make mistakes while you're young.
Right.
But don't give a taser to a baby.
The second she offers Pippa magic, Pippa immediately stops fucking freaking out.
Really?
Right. She asks Gemma, like, oh, are you serious? At this point, the Gorgon pops up and is like, excuse me, let's have a chat real quick before you do this, please. Like, can you come over here? So she...
Come get on me for a second.
Right. She tells Gemma that giving Pippa magic is not going to be a good move. And that Pippa, like, these are the consequences of her own actions. Giving her magic isn't going to help her any, and you don't know what she's going to do with it. Also, you offered to share the magic with everybody else, so like, why are you out here gifting it to someone who doesn't even deserve it, type of thing.
What good can come of this? Give me one good that can come of this. No, I got nothing.
Right. Let's see.
I'm still gonna do it because I'm a Gemma Doyle.
Yeah,
I know everything.
You know what, she feels like she knows everything and that she knows nothing, and she's just like, I have to make all these really hard choices, and, like, nobody is telling me how to do that, type of thing. So, like, I get it. But also, she thinks she knows best. But that's just kind of part of being a teenager, right? So, okay, basically, like, she did this to herself. Gorgon tells Gemma that Pippa now gets to choose whether or not she's going to head to the Winterlands or if she's going to make, like, her own path, basically. Saying that, let's see, Gemma is, yeah, so the Gorgon is basically like, what has happened to her is on her. It is not on you. You don't need to fix this for her, but also this isn't going to fix it for her anyways. She gets to make her own choices in this matter. Like, she can be corrupted, but she doesn't need to be. Like, she can choose not to do that.
I can make my own choices too. Magic.
Right.
And you get magic. And you get magic.
Right.
But all those use are Pippa.
Literally. So Gorgon basically says if Pippa decides to be evil, that she's actively making that choice to be evil. And Gemma says that Pippa isn't really great about making good choices, which we know, but Gorgon really hits her with, like, a mom moment, and she more or less says it's time for her to grow up and start learning how to make good choices. And also, like, she's not going to make good choices or learn how to do that if someone comes along and bails her out every single time she, like, fucks up. Also, we are going to take bets on if Pippa will in fact grow up.
No.
Yeah. So Gemma is pretty fed up with everyone telling her what to do. Because again, also she's like, you guys are making me be in charge, but then you're bossing me around. Like, either you want me in charge or you don't want me in charge. And it's like, girl, relax. Also, they're not telling you what to do. They're telling you to not make dumbass choices.
Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Literally. Gorgon tells Gemma that sympathy is both a blessing and a curse, warning Gemma not to be trapped by her sympathy, telling Gemma that this battle is for Pippa to fight and she's got to fight it on her own. Like, you have a good heart and that's a good thing, but like sometimes that's not a good thing. So, Gemma, being our level-headed teenage queen, she tells the Gorgon that she understands why the Gorgon is the last of her kind. Gorgon more or less tells Gemma, like, do what you want, girl, but, like, this isn't gonna go good. Like, that's fine. You all, too, get to make your own choices, but don't say I didn't warn you when this goes sideways.
I'm not, like, you don't control me anymore. I've always had free will. I can stop, like, boating you around.
Right. So Gemma gives Pippa magic, obviously. Before Gemma heads home, she hears someone calling to her. It sounds as if it's coming from the Cave of Sighs. So Gemma heads over there. Inside, Gemma is greeted by Asha, who asks Gemma if she's come to return the magic to the temple. Gemma tells her not yet. She promises she will, though.
Before the 30-day return limit.
Right. Asha nods. Basically nods, but Gemma can tell that Asha isn't buying it, but she's just like, whatever, I'm not going to argue with you about it. Let's see. So Asha tells Gemma that she's free to enter, but warns her that putting things to rest isn't easy. So Gemma says, I'm not here to return the magic. I'm here to, like, put some stuff to rest. And Asha's like, you can go do that, but it's not going to be as easy as you think it is. So Gemma approaches the well. She goes in, she approaches the well, she sees Circe, and Circe opens her eyes. And Circe basically says, surprise, bitch, but you thought you saw the last of me. She then tells Gemma that she will only be killed once the magic is returned to the temple. So she's like, I'm trapped in this well, I can't get out, I can't hurt you, but, like, also, when you return the magic, that's when I'll be dead, so, like, I'm not actually dead yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna listen to the villain.
I'm not dead yet.
So if I put the magic back, that's going to kill you? I'm going to absolutely do that.
Yeah.
Mrs. Bad Lady.
Yeah, she's
absolutely... Sorry, Miss Bad Lady.
Yeah, so she's like, okay, cool, I do want you dead, so let me make my alliances right now, and everyone lived happily ever after, the end. Just kidding, we have a lot more to go.
A lot more to go.
Yeah, so let's see, blah, blah, blah. Gemma, and Circe is like, you return the magic to the well, I'll die. But the Order is plotting against you to take the realms back. I want you to know that. Gemma's like, well, you're a liar. And as she's like turning around to leave, Circe basically says, you'll be back. You'll be back when you don't have anyone left to trust. You'll come find me.
They always come back.
Right. Just basically, like, you're gonna be out of friends and you won't have any choice but to come to me for help.
Yeah, I just had that thing about, like, don't trust the villain, but when the villain is like, don't trust these people either, that have also had some kind of grudge against you, now I'm like, trust her on that, to protect my previous statement.
Right. And also, there's this really heavy theme of, like, people who could give Gemma information don't want her to have it, so nobody will give her straight answers on questions. And the people who are willing to, like, answer her questions don't have concrete answers to give her. Mm-hmm. And Circe essentially knows a lot about the Order. She spent her whole life, like, basically stalking them. So, and she has nothing to gain or lose by giving Gemma, like, true answers. So that's kind of more or less what Circe's saying to her is, like, you're going to go to people, they're not going to help you, you will come back because I'm your only option, and, like, I can't hurt anybody, I'm trapped in this well.
But also, if Circe is the only one that can help against the Order, that's all the more reason for Gemma to free her.
Right.
Like, even if she does help against the Order or
right.
doesn't, she's still going to be free. It serves her own purpose either way.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because Circe's no friend of the Order either. She has her ulterior motives, and of course, realistically, Gemma should be aware that she is scheming and she is going to gain something, but Miss Moore doesn't exactly like lie to Gemma either.
Go on.
Sorry, she lies by way of just not disclosing information. And like, yeah, of course she like lies in that she pretends that she doesn't know anything about the realms and stuff, so she fishes for information that way. But anytime the girls asked about the Order, she gave them like true answers. Like, maybe she didn't give them a ton of information, but she still answered their questions to like the best of how a Miss Moore would have known things, right? And she hasn't like necessarily outright lied, except for just like withholding information and being sketchy as fuck.
Well, I was just gonna say that only having listened to Rebel Angels once, pretty much through the editing and stuff, I feel like the Order is a bigger threat because they actually like put out some kind of like hit, or had Kardec try to kill her. And I just feel like Circe is just kind of like been always in the background on the kind of the villain of the whole story, but the Order is the immediate villain.
So the Rakshana is the one that put out the hit on her.
No, okay, yes, Rakshana, not the Order. That's my mistake.
The Order sees her more so as a tool than like as a person. So they know that she has the power. They know that they're kind of beholden to her to a certain extent. Is like, we need you, but we want to use you and we want you to fall in line. And like, obviously Gemma's not going to do that, because for better or worse, being a stubborn, free-thinking woman, generally speaking, is dangerous to people, right? Like, even if she's not making the best choices, she's stubborn and she's not going to let people tell her what to do. So that's why she's not necessarily meshing well with the Order, because they want things their way. And Gemma is at least like empathetic enough to know that their way isn't the best way for everybody involved, type of thing. So let's see. No choice. As Gemma's leaving, Asha asks Gemma if she found what she was looking for. Gemma tells her that she knows what she needs to know. More or less, she's like, I'm being haunted by my guilt. But I'm also like being haunted by like, I thought she was dead. She's dangerous and she's not dead, so that's upsetting. So she was just going to kind of put that to rest, but she knows what she needs to know. It is what it is. Let's see. On her way out, she notices a carving of hands clasped in a circle. As Gemma notices the carving, she then hears the stone that the hands are carved into whisper to her, "This is the place of dreams for those who are willing to see." Asha sees Gemma looking at the stones, and so she smiles at Gemma and says that this is a very special place where the Order would bring Rakshana as lovers. She tells Gemma that when a member of the Rakshana and a member of the Order both put their hands in the circle at the same time, they become bound to each other forever, and they're able to like dream walk with each other. So Asha tells Gemma that this is a very unbreakable bond between the Rakshana and the Order. And it's kind of like fated mate shaped, basically. So the following day, Gemma and co return to the realms to hang out with Pippa. Once they make it to Pippa's castle, she immediately pulls Gemma aside and starts to guilt trip Gemma. Basically like, I had the magic, it's gone. Can you give me some more? Basically saying the magic
just a little taste.
Yeah, the magic made me really, really happy, and now it's fading. She tells Gemma that she just
hit.
Yeah, she just needs a little bit more while she's trying to make peace with her fate. So, like, can you just give me a little bit more while I'm just getting used to it? And it's like, oh, you've been here for, like, 2 years. Like, what do you mean?
You said if you lost it, you ain't getting no more.
Right. Anyways. I'm sorry. I don't know why I thought that was that funny. Okay, so, Gemma.
I'm not funny.
No, you are.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It was.
I know, because like, I don't know why I thought that was funny.
No.
I'm just joking.
That funny. Like, yeah. I found it funnier than it probably should have been. That's what I meant. Okay, so Gemma gives her more magic. They all then go off to enjoy themselves and hang out with the factory girls. Okay, not sure when this happens because they are going to come in and out and hang out with the factory girls, but the youngest factory girl, Wendy, she is blind. And she's like an actual like little kid, like elementary school age.
Well, yeah, you need the small hands.
Yes.
Very, very nimble.
Yes. Anyways, so she's blind and she's like absolutely terrified because she's like in this place that she's not familiar with, you know, and stuff is like generally can be dangerous in the realms. So like she's in unfamiliar territory and she like doesn't know what to do. I'm not certain that if she was blind before she went into the factory or if she was blinded during the fire. Anyways, so she's itty bitty, sweet little Wendy. We love her. She's blind, terrified. Basically Gemma gravitates towards Wendy and she's like just really sweet and like big sister towards her. And she ends up finding a bunny for Wendy and like giving it to her. They name it Mr. Darcy. And she's basically like, well, when you feel like you're alone, at least you have Mr. Darcy and I'll like obviously come back and hang out with you.
Pippa's a bitch. I'll take the factory girls.
You don't even know the half of it, okay,
Oh,
Queen?
God.
It's gonna get so much worse. So
Just like Pippa's Magic Addiction.
She's about to be
Just like Pippa's
Cersei
Magic
number
Addiction.
2.
So, while everybody's, like, playing and chilling, they all of a sudden hear a bunch of hooves running towards them. The centaurs pull up. They're like, girl, you coming with us, okay? So they tell Gemma that she owes them a visit. Gemma tells, the lead, his name is, like, Christus or something like that. And he's, like, a big old asshole. Anyways, so she tells him that she had been planning to visit them soon. And he's basically like, sure, Jan. So the Gorgon then rolls up because Babe is everywhere when you need her. She rolls up and she tells Gemma that all is ready for the visit to Fionn. So basically she rolls up and she's like, hey, Gemma, like, let's go visit Fionn, like you said. So I don't necessarily know that she intended to do this, but, like, she's essentially co-signing that Gemma did, in fact, say she was going to be visiting Fionn. Gemma's like, see? I was planning to visit the whole time. Anyways, so...
Yeah, listen to my boat.
The ladies... Sorry, guys. The ladies board, the Gorgon and set off. I don't know why I said the ladies, because I don't know that everyone goes with her. This whole time, there's this thing of the girls discussing that they need the magic in order to change things back home, and that's kind of like a driving force for why they don't want to share the magic, because what if they share the magic and then they're not able to like change the things that they want to change? So let's change the things that we want to change and then we can give the magic back type thing, but every time they have the magic, they just do dumbass shit with it anyways. And it's like, girl, you're not even trying to make moves. What are you talking about? So... Okay. They meet with Fionn and the forest folk. Fionn asks the ladies if they had forgotten their promise to share the magic in exchange for the forest folks' aid in finding the temple. Gemma assures them that she didn't forget. They more or less, they being the forest folk or Fionn, don't know. Anyways, so they're basically like, you're acting like the Order did. Like, you said you're not with the Order, but you are doing what they did to us.
Has she mentioned why she's gatekeeping it? Because I feel like there has to be like, is it a trust thing or is it just she doesn't?
Yeah, so to some extent she will continue to say like she doesn't know if she can trust the forest folk, and like they are rude and they aren't necessarily kind to her, but they legitimately helped her, right? So like for all intents and purposes you should be able to trust them, but also regardless, Gemma already is basically on her soapbox of like everybody should have this equally type of thing. Like she genuinely does believe that. I think part of it is that she likes to feel like she's special. So if she has all of the magic, then she's special, right? So I think that definitely plays a role in it. And then again, she wants to kill her father. Felicity wants to make sure that she ends up with her freedom and also wants to end up with freedom to some capacity. So they have things that they want to get done. They're just not really doing anything to make that happen necessarily. So yeah, part of it is that she doesn't know what the forest folks are going to do with the magic, so she's nervous to kind of give it to them. She also wants to be special. She wants her friends to need her, and for that she needs to have the magic, and then they want to change their lives. Also, she's like kind of having fun with it too, so that's kind of like, I like this toy, and I don't necessarily, I want to be the owner of said toy. Yeah. So let's see. They tell her that she's acting like the Order, but she tells them that she's not part of the Order. Fionn tells Gemma that it's getting harder to see the difference as time goes on between her and the Order. The forest folk demand that they immediately go to the temple to exchange power. Gemma brings up that the Hajin aren't at this meeting, so, like, I'm not even going to discuss this with you if all parties aren't present, basically. Fionn assures Gemma that they did, in fact, send word to the Hajin to, like, come and meet with them. Like, we asked them to be here, and they chose not to be here, type of thing.
Just like Gemma was planning on seeing them.
Yeah. I mean, she was, in theory, but she was also just fucking off having fun with friends. Anyways, Fionn says that the Hajin are afraid of change, and they would prefer to serve without question rather than having to change and make decisions, and that definitely plays a role later on down the line as well. So some of the forest folk are even pissed that Gemma even wants to consider the Hajin being part of this at all, because again, they're considered to be the untouchables. So just generally speaking, a lot of the community type thing, they just don't like the Hajin. They don't think that the Hajin should even have magic. So they're infuriated that she even wants to, like, entertain having them be a part of it. So,
I need to chill.
Absolutely.
This is why she's holding on to the magic.
Yeah. Some even go so far as to say that the Hajin need to be exterminated. Like, that's how deep this, like, hatred is, like, running, that's honestly.
Crazy. I'd give it to them.
They don't want it. This obviously puts Gemma on edge, wondering... So this is also, like, part of the distrust, right? Because, like, Fionn is nice. Some of the forest folk are nice, but they, like, straight up want to, like, eradicate an entire society.
Not helping your case.
Right. So that's a concern for her, too. Also, like, you guys are saying that if I give the magic out equally, there will be peace, but, like, you guys are so riled up right now. Like, do I even know that that's going to be the case? She starts thinking, did she make a mistake, perhaps, with offering to share the magic equally with the forest folk to begin with? Things at the meeting get incredibly tense. They're trying to pressure Gemma to go right now and do it, and she's not wanting to. And generally speaking, I am always going to support not wanting to be pressured into making a decision that you're not sure on, right?
Oh, 100%.
And if someone is trying to pressure you and more pressure is being put on you, generally speaking, that's a bad sign, right? So, like, she really should have been working this shit out prior to this, but, like, I do understand where her hesitations are coming from right now, and generally speaking, she should be digging in her heels if someone's trying to force her to do something right now. She tells them that she will share the magic, but she wants to understand more about it and more about the realms. There's kind of like this theme as well as, like, you guys want me to rule, but you won't teach me anything. I have to figure out everything for myself, and you just want me to rule without having all of that knowledge that I probably should have. So that's kind of another aspect of it. Generally speaking, though, for me, 1000%, everything other than feeling special and changing her life is more so an excuse. I don't think that it's not true, but I do think that she's, like, throwing those cards out just to help her case in keeping it. So she'll share the magic when she understands things. She just wants to have a clear understanding of everything, and what her duties will be to the realms. Like, she just wants to know more so she can understand what she's essentially going to have to do later on. Tensions continue to rise. So Gemma says, I'll gift you with some magic now. like, I'll give you some magic now as a show of good faith. And then, you know, once things are more settled, we can go ahead and actually share everything.
You can have a little magic as a treat.
Yeah, and Vian declines. Basically telling Gemma that they need more than just a taste, but that Gemma can do as she must. Basically, like, I'm not going to take your gift. I need to have the magic for us, but I will give you the benefit of the doubt. If you need time to understand your duties to the realms, that's fair. Figure your shit out. Vian does warn Gemma that they have a duty to their people and that they will be meeting with her soon, and either they're going to walk away as friends or enemies, basically. Like, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, but my duty first and foremost is to my people, and we collectively do need the magic. So, basically, you got to get your shit together, or I'm going to have to do something about it. When the girls return home, they see a shadow lurking around the east wing. The girls are startled. They are worried that they're going to be caught out of bed, though, so they don't know who it is, and they're not sure if it's someone that's going to get them in trouble. So they just, like, take off, get inside, get in bed. The next morning, though, Mrs. Nightwing calls a meeting for all the girls. She says that a very serious offense occurred. The stones of the East Wing have been vandalized. Symbols have been painted on the stones in blood. And Mrs. Nightwing tells all of the girls that if no one will come forward for having done the vandalism, then she's going to punish everybody. Side note, why the fuck does she think that these teenage girls got buckets of blood to paint on stones? Like, that's crazy, right? You have the workers and you have the Romani.
Mother Elena especially had a problem.
Both of whom have access and knowledge to hunt and or just slaughter a livestock to get the blood. Like, where did they even get the blood? Like, let's be so real right now. Like,
depends on
gotta
them.
punish the girls. It's the girls' fault. Always the girls' fault.
It ain't like that. I see where you're going, but
yeah, no, like,
wait, what?
They're girls. Blood, they'll get the blood. They'll get blood from somewhere, depending on like where they are in there. And I know like certain types of magic that's kind of based around like
I'm like
their own blood.
Girls, I'm like girls try to ignore that
for sure, but like
yeah, you're also not bleeding to that extent where you can just straight up go and like basically
have gallons of
tag a bunch of walls. Like, that's.
All right, girls, let's sync up.
Right. Like, they're just outside with their tampons. Like,
you said vandalize, so I figured, you know, as much blood as you can like paint with a finger, but then you said like buckets of blood, so I don't know how much was actually vandalized.
It is buckets of blood.
Okay.
And basically symbols were painted all over the like bricks and the walls that are like being put up, basically. And you are right on with your theory because it makes the most sense, right? So just for me, when I was rereading this, not necessarily knowing who the culprit was, my initial thought was like, clearly it's the Romani, right? Because they are sus about the East Wing, and symbols generally can be used as protection. But then also Miller's men, they very immediately are like, it's the Romani that's doing it, because it's asinine to assume that the fucking children did it. Regardless, but he also doesn't want the Romani even anywhere near them, so he could have done it just to have an excuse to get them out of there. Right. So, like, you have two groups of people who have way more motive and ability to do this, but yeah, let's blame the children.
Yeah, and knowing very little about, like, actual Romani, but knowing that they don't use that word to describe them in the books, I could definitely see, just them making up, oh, Romani, they slaughter something or other every night, and so they have just buckets of blood sitting around for, like, no reason, just to fearmonger or out of ignorance.
Yes.
Like that makes more sense than blaming the girls of the school, but, you know, actually them living next to Romani and kind of getting along with them for the most part, I feel like tensions aren't as high. The propaganda or optics aren't as skewed.
Mhm.
So it skews more towards it's the girls that did this because they know the Romani well enough.
Yes.
And I you know what, the construction workers didn't even enter my mind, but that also makes more sense out of anyone. Is we want these Romani out of here, so we're gonna paint them in the bad guys as the bad guys, no pun intended, as paint. But
Right. Yeah. I generally agree. And I get why she sees it as vandalism, but my mind wouldn't necessarily immediately assume it's vandalism, you know, especially because everybody has just such weird superstitions. And like, I know generally speaking, we are told that Mrs. Nightwing isn't in the order, which isn't untrue. However, she's up in their business. Like, she knows she's in the know. Like, is she part of the order? No, but she knows what's going on. She's adjacent. So
just treat it as werewolf. Turn it around on here. How do we know you didn't do it, Mrs. Nightwing? Where were you last night?
That's a nice wig, girl. No,
I'm trying
but
here.
she knows magic's real. Like,
Yeah.
she knows without a doubt magic is real. So just
Everyone's a suspect to some extent or another, and we will get to the bottom of this mystery box by the end of the book. Just chill, wig.
right. So Miller, the foreman, he comes up to Mrs. Nightwing and tells her that the Romani are clearly the Vandals and that he and his men are so incredibly happy to run them off the property for expense.
I'll bet they are.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Okay, yeah, and then at that point I'm like, so did he do it, you know?
Yeah, mystery box solved before you even opened it.
Yeah, so there are, I already did all this, just because I'm just pissed, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, so Mrs. Nightwing declines, basically saying that this was clearly just a prank, it's not a big deal.
Just a prank, bro.
Right.
Cut that. That's a old, outdated reference.
Yeah, so she is like, the Romani have been here for years. They've never caused problems. It's not them. I'm sure it won't happen again. Looks at the girls like, right? As they're outside scrubbing the blood off the bricks.
We've never had any problems until you guys showed up. Ignore that the East Wing burned down in the first place.
Right. So it's nothing more than a prank. I'm sure it's never going to happen again. And then while cleaning, the girls begin talking amongst themselves about who the culprit is. Most of whom are assuming it's the Romani because, again, most likely suspects.
Prejudices and stuff.
And then some are arguing that perhaps it's Bridget because she has a lot of the same superstitions as Mother Elena. So, yeah, basically Bridget also thinks that it's cursed, so it could have been her too. And then they start discussing if Bridget's a witch. But then someone argues that Bridget is always bitching about a bad back, so there's no way that she would take her personal time where she gets to relax to drag buckets of blood outside and paint, which is also fair, you know?
When a woman's determined.
Yeah, so everyone's like, she's too old and lazy to have done this.
I immediately think it's just her.
Who's to say? So the girls then turn the debate into why someone's done this. Most are agreeing that clearly this is revenge or to frighten off like the workers. So the Romani came and did this to spook them out and make them leave because they wouldn't give us jobs type thing. Okay. And then some theorize that perhaps someone marked the East Wing because they wanted to summon evil. I guess so they're just assuming that this is inherently an evil thing that they did. At this point, when people start saying, like, well, maybe these markings, like, mean something, maybe they're evil, Anne basically pipes up and says, but what if they're protection? So, of course, our main goon squad turns on her, and they're basically asking why she knows that the markings are protection. They then tell Anne that she's not able to bear their happiness, and therefore she's trying to ruin the girls' ability to have tea parties, basically. Like, you can't stand that we're happy, so you're gonna vandalize the school so that we lose privileges and we have to work super hard because you're so mad that we're privileged.
So this is Werewolf, just everyone blaming everyone else with no proof, but because someone tried to make a point or make an observation, now all of a sudden they're in the crosshairs.
Don't blame the how you gonna blame the girl who's on a scholarship there? She wants the tea parties too.
She's also out there cleaning too, ho.
Yeah, I'm like, she wants these things probably more than you do because you get to have them on a daily fucking basis.
Yeah,
like fuck off.
This is her, like, one time to, like, kind of have a little bit of, like,
before she works herself
fancy
to the
lifestyle.
fucking bone.
Right. So anyways, Anne starts getting really frantic and, like, stuttering because that's something that Anne does. Like, she's like, no, it wasn't me. And then the bitches keep pestering her. So then she just stops arguing, and then she mutters something under her breath, and just starts scrubbing the bricks again. Obviously, the goon squad square up at her, and they're like, what'd you say? You want to say that again? Want to run that by me again? Like, we deserve to hear what you want to say to us, like, to our faces. So Gemma and Felicity, like, try to step in, and they're like, can you leave her the fuck alone, basically? And Anne finally, just to get them off her back, says that I said one day you're gonna be sorry. So they then get in her face, like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, what could you possibly do to us? Like, how could you possibly make us sorry? She goes back to cleaning. At this point, they just kind of laugh at her and tell her that in a month she'll be in her rightful place and she should probably start acting like it. Right.
Yep, dump blood on them.
Mm-hmm. Also, I cut this out, but at one point, Gemma uses magic to make one of them break her ankle and bust her face. Yeah.
Like, accidentally? Like, just that kind of overflow?
Oh no, you fell.
Yeah. And, like,
let me help you.
You know, you love to see it. So that night, Gemma's in bed. She's dreaming about the River Lady again, and she wakes up because all of her books are falling on the floor, like, clattering to the floor.
The River Lady's the lavender dress?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, Gemma dreams about her, wakes up, all of the books are scattered all over the floor, except the Secret Society book. That is the only book that stayed on her bookcase. And she's not questioning why the books flew off the bookcase, and she's not thinking it's suspicious that the only one that didn't fall off the bookcase is about secret societies. So she just gets up and puts all the books back, and then...
I fear Gemma's not brilliant enough to hold all the magic.
She tries, okay? She's got spunk.
She does have spunk, but I fear...
She's got gusto.
Not all of the chosen ones in YA fantasies are actually good at their jobs.
Oh, so this is the young adult book? Aren't. This is a young adult book?
Yeah.
Oh, sounds dark as hell for you.
Girl, you don't even know the half of it, okay?
I mean, a lot of those got really dark.
This one gets pretty dark. Like, yes, I agree. This one, it's like... I'm not going to give spoilers because you'll find out. But I mean, you heard me screaming about it at 2 a.m. Anyways, so let's see. Secret Society is the only one on the shelf. Blah, blah, blah. Fast forward. Gemma has used an illusion on Anne. The girls are going to see a play. Anne is going to pose as Felicity's cousin, Nan Washbrad. Her name is Anne Bradshaw, so that was her thing. Anagram was Nan Washbrad. So basically it's not like the entire class is going out. The French teacher is taking Gemma, Felicity, and Felicity's cousin, Nan Washbrad. And then girls. Oh, okay. On the way to the play, the girls are asking the French teacher about her plans for the wedding, just to, like, make conversation. Like, but also they genuinely like her and they like Inspector Kent, so they're, like, just asking her nice things about the wedding and stuff. And, like, all of the girls are invited to the wedding as well, and that's at the very end of the book. But the girls are asking about her plans, and they ask, like, are you going to continue teaching after you're married? And so she kind of says, like, well, that's, like, dependent on Inspector Kent. Like, I'd like to, but that would be a conversation I'll have with him. And then just sort of notable happenings regarding this conversation. Felicity declares that she's never going to get married. She intends to move to Paris and become a model for an artist. The French teacher isn't scandalized by this, but she basically says, like, you don't want to have kids. Like, because if you're never going to get married at that time period, it's like, okay, you don't want to get married, sure, but, like, you don't ever want to have kids. And Felicity says that she doesn't. She wants to live for herself and she doesn't want to be trapped. Vibes, get it. French teacher basically tells Felicity, and I like this kind of quote and thought process, but one needn't be trapped. One's life can be made rich by sharing burdens and joys. It takes the right sort of husband, one who will be your friend and not a master, one who will care for his wife with small everyday kindnesses. And so basically, like, marriage gets to be what you make it type of thing, you know? But Felicity, under her breath, just says, I wouldn't make a good wife. So after the play, the girls sneak backstage to see the lead actress. The girls tell her that Nan has a very lovely singing voice. The actress, and she's American, so she's very straight to the point type of thing. So basically,
cool,
they're
good for
like,
you.
They're like, oh, Nan has a really good singing voice. She goes, oh, so you came in here to get an audition. And so Nan is like, I wouldn't do that. And she goes, if you don't ask for it, you're not going to get it, type of thing. Like, you don't get things by not asking for them. Like, just kind of giving her, like, a life lesson. Like, if you want something, ask for it. I'm not going to just do this if you don't ask me for it. Like, man up, bitch. Like, get some balls. So.
Man up, bitch. Get some balls.
Right. It's on my tombstone.
Oh my.
So,
I thought
anyways,
it was gonna be literally.
Literally get some balls.
Literally.
So Anne secures the audition, basically. So she's like, can I? And she's like, yeah, I'll talk to the director for you. And then, let's see. Also, and this comes to be an issue, but I just have to say how fucking stupid these girls are, right? Because they disguise her as Nan so that she can come and get an audition, so she can join the theater troupe, so she can have a different life, and she doesn't have to be a governess, and she gets to do something she enjoys, but she has a different face and a different name. And you're not going to have that shit forever, girl. That illusion doesn't... What are we doing here? And so that surprisingly becomes an issue.
No, you just heard me. My name is Anne. I don't know where you heard Nan from. That was really, really strange. And it was low lighting in there, so I didn't look, and I was all maked up, and I didn't look like I was supposed to. This is my natural face.
Mm-hmm.
Easy fix.
So, and then during this time, throughout the book, Gemma uses her magic to suggest things to people, which I mentioned. They briefly run into Lady Markle, who is the one that's going to be allegedly sponsoring Felicity for her debut. And Felicity's mom is also with them. Like, the French teacher essentially chaperoned them to the theater, but they were meeting with Felicity's mom. So they did...
How many roommates came along?
Yes. So they did use the sort of magic on Felicity's mom to make her think that Nan is in fact Felicity's cousin as well. So they bump into Lady Markle, or Felicity's mom is basically like, oh, you should, like, come over for tea. And she's like, too busy. So she, like, basically outright snubs them. So at this point, Gemma intentionally uses her magic to suggest that the lady absolutely adores Felicity and that she cannot wait to present Felicity for her debut. So, like, that's kind of like, here's how I'm gonna, like, sway the tides for Felicity, right? As the girls are leaving, they see a flyer for an illusionist who is going to be performing at a museum. So obviously the girls are like, absolutely, yes, let's go talk to him and see if, like, his assistant...
So different illusionist than the first one.
Illusionist, not spiritualist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Differentist.
Yeah, we're thinking, like, David Copperfield.
Okay.
Houdini.
Who?
Yeah, Houdini. Did you know he died at Sinai, like the Sinai Hospital in Detroit?
Why was I thinking he died going over a waterfall?
No, that's someone else. That was someone else.
Okay.
He injured himself. I think he, like, I know he injured himself. I think he, like, maybe punctured a lung with a rib or something. Like, he broke a rib trying to get out of a straitjacket and punctured his lung. Maybe. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I do know that he died in Detroit, which I thought was interesting. We used to recruit for, at the old place, we used to recruit for a thing at the hospital, not like doctors or anything, but, and...
Fun fact.
The operations was like, fun fact, Houdini died there. And I was like,
Oh.
Girl, what?
Or did he?
Or did he? It's been an escape this whole time.
Yeah, you just flew the coop. Okay, so where the fuck?
Okay, so what was the point of Anne being Felicity's cousin?
So that she could go. Because no one's going to take the scholarship student to a play for fun.
It's uncool. Are you uncool now? I'm kidding.
Why not like Gemma's cousin? Because then Gemma's not going to have a family member there who they also need to
more gossip around Gemma.
Magically elude.
But Felicity is like the popular girl and she's kind of like the queen bee. So generally speaking, she maybe has more sway to like make things happen.
Yeah, I suppose.
I don't know. It's just what they did. So let's see.
I didn't know if there was a reason or if I'm thinking too much.
I mean,
usually it's not enough.
You know, who cares? No, I mean, it's just what they decided to do. But also, when they, in the second book, when they took Anne back, they pretended that she was a different Felicity cousin or something. So generally speaking, it's like Felicity can get what she wants. She can get away with a lot of shit. So she is going to be bossy and force people to do what she wants. But like, here's the cover up. Other than Felicity just saying, "I'm bringing Anne. Shut up about it."
I guess also, she's my cousin. Don't piss her off because you're pissing me off. Makes more sense than this is Gemma's cousin. I care about her for some reason. Listen to me.
Yeah. Okay, so fast forward, McLeese has returned to Spence. Her and Gemma have a bit of a standoff. McLeese tries to charm Gemma at first, back into the order, essentially telling Gemma that the Rakshana haven't bothered Gemma because of her. Like, I've been keeping the Rakshana away from you. I'm trying to protect you. And then, like, I can take you under my wing, blah, blah, blah. McLeese then warns Gemma.
Am I under Mrs. Nightwing?
No, like, McLeese.
Cut.
And then McLeese, when that isn't working, McLeese then warns Gemma about creating an alliance with the forest folk of the realms, and then she tells Gemma that if she doesn't return the magic to the order, then McLeese is going to stop protecting her from the Rakshana. Gemma digs her heels in, rightfully so, love that. Finally, stubbornness coming in handy. Gemma tells McLeese that she can't return the magic to the realms because she doesn't have the magic. She just keeps saying, like, I don't have the magic. Like, I bound it to myself, but I don't have it anymore.
I mean, just be like, okay, you're the third person who's threatened me to give the magic to someone this week. Get in line.
Yeah. She's basically says, like, I haven't even been back with the realms. So, like, and technically, like, she hasn't been able to conjure the door on her own organically, but she did find an entrance.
Just the rock.
Yeah, the rock door. Okay, so Gemma apologizes for being such a disappointment, and McLeese retorts, "You're not half as sorry as I am." Yeah. Oh
my god.
I know, she's a big old C. Later Later that night, Gemma be creeping. Again, she is eavesdropping on Nightwing and McLeese. They're conspiring. She hears someone who, just based on the context of the conversation, it's obviously McLeese. So she hears McLeese say, wait, hang on.
I feel accepted.
Look at you.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Oh, say that they can't. Okay. I got it. I understand now. So they hear McLeese, or Gemma hears McLeese say that they can't leave it to chance, that the risk is too great. The response from who we can probably deduce as Nightwing asks if they should place all this faith in this plan. So basically, like, we got to do something. the risk is too great, and then it's like, well, can we even really trust this plan? Like, is it wise to just put all of our faith in this one thing, like saving everything? And then basically, we have no real proof. Should we trust this plan? We have no real proof that this is like even legit. And then don't question me is basically the gist of what Gemma could deduce from the conversation. So Gemma hears the response of, I'm loyal and you know that. And then they leave. They don't spot Gemma this time. She was better at sneaking and hiding.
I'm loyal and you know it.
Right. So Gemma like yeets herself over to the Romani camp to see Kartik. And while trying to figure out the best way to enter the camp without getting caught by the other Romani, like how can I best sneak to his tent, he grabs her and chucks her to the ground because he doesn't realize it's her. He just sees someone like sneaking around the camp, so he grabs her and like fucking yeets her.
Body slam.
Right. And then let's see. She threatens to scream, and it's him. Because that's, I guess, how they always do. He's upsetting her, and she's like, I'm gonna scream. He's shocked that it's her, and he's like, what are you doing here? And she's annoyed, and she's like, what are you doing throwing people around? He then tells Kartik about McLeafy making a return, telling him that McLeafy has a spy in the Rakshana, because obviously if she's keeping the Rakshana from hurting her, then clearly she's working with someone in the Rakshana, and the Rakshana and the Order are not on good terms, so she has a spy. Kartik...
Or she's just going to the Cave of Sighs every now and then with them.
Well, no, because no one from the Order is returned to the realms, except technically Gemma, but she's a descendant of the Order. She's not really the Order.
Okay, the Earth chapter of the Cave of Sighs.
You're not wrong. It is in fact a leper within the Rakshana.
A single? Okay, never mind.
Not multiple. Sorry, she's not that cool.
I was close.
Not that cool. Oh my god.
I mean, are any of us cool?
No. So Gemma tells Kartik that McLeafy has a spy. Kartik reminds Gemma that he's no longer with the Rakshana, so he doesn't care. Telling her that they think he's dead, and he prefers to keep it that way. So he's not interested in trying to look around and find out who the spy is, because like they think I'm dead. I am not going to show up and start asking questions. Gemma asks what he means by that. Like, why do they think you're dead? Like, they knew you weren't dead, so why do they think you're dead? And he just says that he's not going to discuss it with her. Like, some things are best not to be discussed.
Yeah, I think at the end you said that he got kicked out.
Yeah.
Okay.
He at the end basically
he was unwanted or something.
Yeah, so he helped Gemma escape from the Rakshana, and then when he tried to go back inside after helping her like leave the building, she's like, they're gonna kill you if you go back in there. Like, you helped me escape. They are not gonna let you go back. And so then he's like, oh shit, okay, yeah, you right, girl. But basically he's saying that the entirety of the Rakshana thinks he's dead. So while they're having this conversation, they're walking over to the horses because Kartik was on his way to feed the horses. Did you have something? Oh, you just look like you were going to say something. Okay. So he begins feeding the horses. He goes up to one of the horses and tells Gemma that she's a really fine girl. She's never a moment's trouble. And so Gemma gets really indignant and goes...
This is Brandy.
Huh?
This is Brandy.
All right. Gemma gets like really annoyed and goes, is that what makes a girl good? A lack of trouble? And he said, no, that's what makes a good horse.
Oh my god.
So,
good horses really make history? I don't know.
So, he then begs her to stop telling him about the realms. Like, please, I can't know anything else. Please don't tell me about the realms. And so she agrees. They then have this really cute moment that I left in here because it was adorable. A hedgehog pops out of a bush and like runs through, and it startles the shit out of Gemma. And Kartik said, oh, don't mind him. He's on his way to see his lady friend. Gemma asks how he knows he's off to see his lady friend, and Kartik's like, well, obviously he was wearing his finest suit.
Aww.
And so then she said, well, why is he wearing his finest suit? Like, what did he do? Why has he got to get so dressed up to go see his lady? And let's see. He says the hedgehog's been away in London and he's returned to see her. She asks if the lady's mad at him, and he says she'll forgive him. And Gemma goes, you sure about that? Like, why would the Lady Hedgehog forgive him? And Kardik says that it is his hope that she'll forgive him. He didn't mean to upset her. Gemma asks if he's happy to see his lady, and he confirms, saying that he would like to stay longer, but he can't. Gemma asks why, and this whole time they're still talking about the hedgehogs.
I was wondering.
Yeah, and so he says he has his reasons, and he hopes that one day his lady will understand. So they have a lot more cute banter. He tells Gemma that he was planning to go for a walk, and he says, would you like to join me? So they walk over to the lake. They sit down. They're both like sitting, leaning up against a tree. And then he asks Gemma if she's ever seen Amar in the realms. Or I guess like since the one sighting. When she tells him, I don't know what this means. Anyways, so she basically said no, not since that one time, and then he like nods, and then he like immediately falls asleep. And so she's sitting with him, just looking at him, thinking how pretty he is. She then reaches out to touch his face, and he startles awake and begins like fighting her. Like he's like just doesn't know what's going on. He just is really aggressive once waking up. He doesn't realize it was like Gemma, I guess. She finally gets him fully awake, like as he's like on top of her, and she's like, what is going on? And he tells her that he's just been having a lot of nightmares about his brother, saying that he keeps seeing Amar sitting on a white horse in a frozen wasteland. Kardik tells Gemma in these dreams Kardik is with Amar, and that Amar is very powerful. He then says that he sees Gemma there, and she always dies.
Oh no.
Gemma confronts him, telling him it's only a dream. She then takes his hand and suggests that he come with her to the realms and that they'll look for Amar together. Telling Kardik that it'll be helpful for him to come to the realms and see that he's wrong. He's not wrong, by the way. So he pulls his hand away from her, asking what would happen if he goes to the realms and finds out that he's actually right. He tells Gemma that he plans to pay back his debt to the Romani, and then he's leaving. He's gonna like get on a ship, and he's like his booked passage, or like is going to be working on the ship. It's setting sail for India. He's just gonna go back home, basically. Gemma asks him why he won't even try to fight. He tells her that she needs to make the alliance without him, and that she's going to be fine on her own. She basically starts crying and tells him that she's sick of being alone, and she storms off. On her way back to Spence, though, she sees Mother Elena walking towards Spence with buckets of blood. She basically takes the buckets and dumps them out and tells her that she has to stop. Not necessarily because she doesn't want to scrub the stones again, basically. She's like, I'm not cleaning this shit. Stop doing this. So, let's see. Mother tells Elena that the markings need to be made with blood or they'll come. Like, they must be in blood or they'll come. Gemma disregards this, basically assuming that Mother Elena's just having, like, a dementia moment. And I mean that genuinely. I don't mean that flippantly. Like, clearly she has some sort of, like, memory
in the first
stuff
look,
going on.
She thought that, I think Gemma was Carolina until she started like coming to her senses,
and then she would call her Mary as well. So I just want to specify that I wasn't saying dementia moment in a flippant way,
like,
because that shit's not funny.
Truly, she is not mentally in her age.
Yeah, so she's just assuming like, oh, you're just confused, kind of thing. So let's see. Gemma basically dumps the bucket, gives it back to her, and heads back inside. As she's walking, she realizes that it's starting to get really cold, though. And it's early spring, but it's like cold to the point where there's like frost that's killing flowers. But the frost is stemming from the stone. So Gemma then notices a crow circling overhead watching her, and then as the crow flies over the stone, which I'm going to go ahead and call the seal, it just vanishes. And so, she just is like, well, maybe I didn't see that.
Oh my god.
So then, you know what? And I get it. It's like, I don't want that to be real, so I'm just gonna pretend like I'm confused.
I can't explain it. If I tell anyone about it, they're gonna think I'm crazy. So,
but like
keep
also
that under your hat.
that feels like it's going to be a really big problem, and I really don't want that to be a thing. So I'm just going to assume that I'm wrong, and been there. So the next time the girls are in the realms, Gemma has an interaction with some fairies, basically like pixie fairies. They tell her about the Tree of All Souls, telling her that her magic is nothing compared to the trees. Basically, like, they come up and they're trying to, like, charm her into giving them some magic, and when she says, no, buzz off, they are basically like, well, your magic is nothing compared to the Tree of All Souls.
So why are you asking for it?
Right. And so, let's see.
It's like guys asking a girl out and then be like, oh, you're ugly anyway.
Right. I mean, no, I feel that. And that is one of those things that fucking makes me so enraged. Just because it's like, grow up, don't. People who just get defensive when you call them out on shit is so fucking annoying.
And I don't know how you put up with me before I got ADHD diagnosed.
I begged you, and that saved her. That saved her.
That's true.
Because it was rough for a minute. So let's see. Nothing compared to the trees. Interaction's not hella important. But the pixies are very much of the Winterlands. So just any pixies we see from here on out, they're dark-sided, basically. So
Psychics.
Yes, just
gargoyles.
Yes. The key takeaways here are that the tree is incredibly powerful. It lives in the heart of the Winterlands. And if Gemma would like to learn more about it, she needs to go to the Winterlands. It's like, well, how do you plan to rule when you've only seen half of your kingdom, type of thing.
I was going to visit my local library.
Right.
My local library.
So when she brushes this info off, saying she knows all she needs to know about the Winterlands. They tell her she only knows what she's been told. Basically saying, how can you hope to rule, blah, blah, blah. But also, why have you believed what you've been told without ever questioning it? Like, they only told you what you want to hear. You haven't learned anything from outside of, like, the order. They only told you half the truth. Is basically, they, like, didn't necessarily say that they lied to you, but, like, you only know half the truth, basically. So Pippa asks them if they think that there really is a tree in the Winterlands, and notes that since returning they haven't seen any Winterland creatures, that the realms have been more or less quiet. Pippa tells them that they will have to find the tree to find out, which of course isn't going to go wrong at all. Cut for time side quests. Gemma is in London with her family. She wishes for her father to forget all of his pain. This unfortunately also changes actual memories of her mother, basically. So by asking him to forget all of his pain, she's rewritten his history accidentally. So she thinks to herself that she's just going to need to choose her words more carefully in the future. She also runs into Scarface from second book, whose name is Falson. He asks her for the magic back. She tells him the order has it. Basically, so she tells the order that she doesn't have it anymore, that she's lost it, and she tells the Rakshana that she gave it to the order. He calls BS on this. He tells her that he can go ahead and have a chat with Tom. Basically, and I'll go tell your brother you're crazy, more or less, is what he says to her. He then tells her to tell Kardik he says hi. Basically indicating that the Rakshana doesn't actually think he's dead.
Say hi to your mom for me.
Yeah. And so with that, one night, Tom comes home. He's completely wasted. He tells Gemma that he's been selected by a very private, secret club. He's been asked to join. He tells her that he can't even tell her their name. They're so secret. But he shows her a pin that they gave her. It's a skull and a sword. Gemma has a vision of the river lady. Vision is mostly just flashes, but one of the flashes was of McLeafy. And that's it. That is part 1.
On a 3-part journey.
3 parts.
At least 3 parts.
So yeah, that is Act 1 and 2 of a 5-act book. And when I was Googling to see how many acts, it said you can tell that this is a tragedy because it has 5 acts. And that was upsetting.
Oh no.
So that's a little teaser.
So things go downhill from here.
Yeah, so we are hoping this will be a 3-part. If not, the fourth part will be up immediately after the third part, basically. It'll be a bonus. Okay. So, bye.
Bye. I have to take us out, send us out.
You have to. Well,
send
you
us
weren't.
out,
Everyone,
Nick.
no one was saying shit.
Yeah, sorry. It's been.
Sorry, usually I get prompted.
Yeah, it's like
He was just waiting his turn. I appreciate a man.
Yeah,
who
I
waits.
was saying, like, I am definitely, like, low energy, like, calm today, so I'm not normally, like, send us out, Nick. So, yeah, send us out, Nick.
If you're yappy and clap your hands.
I'm so sorry, Fig.
Fig is like, guys.
Her eyes, like, her pupils completely, like, blew out.
She's like, how dare you?
And I must aggressively lick myself.
Bye.
Bye.